What's up, otakus? Your tour guide here. I'm just doing a quick video because I'm going to hop on and try to catch Roger's video. He's going to go, I think he's going live he's going on a fellow community member's channel to talk about uh, a story, um, a certain run. They're going to discuss books there. So thought I'd go over and check that out. But before I did, we got a package, and I'm going to unbox this. And this is, like the title suggests, this is a must have for any Jim Lee fan. I think, I know of a few Jim Lee fans in the community, and there are a lot. I mean, there are varying degrees to Jim Lee fandom, I guess, but I think for the most part, most collectors have Jim Lee in their collection. Um, they do pick up his covers, they do pick up his books. Um, you know, they're, but I mean, if you consider yourself a big fan of his, this is definitely a must item you have. And it's related to this book. So I'm just going to show off this book here. You can see the COA. This is Jim Lee signed X-Men 1 from the 90s. It's his 90s signature right there. And I didn't pay $100 for this. I paid $50 at the Comic Con, um, which is really good price. And when you consider he's charging close to 100 now for the CGC events, and um, so I consider it $50 for a sign key book like that is pretty good. Um, so this is something related to that, and I'm gonna show off what it is. But I really, this was a complete impulse buy, and I'd like to thank Comics Wanderlust for bringing it to my. So I let me backtrack. I don't want to say for bringing it to my attention, because I know this is something I've wanted for quite some time. I just kind of forgot about it, um, in terms of like priorities. I It was something I kind of put on the back burner and said I'll eventually pick it up. There didn't seem to be like a, you know, for lack of a better word, just there's kind of an abundance of them, ironically, which leads me to believe, I don't know how authentic these things are or how common or uncommon they are. But this one, a guy is just selling them. But basically, if you go and look at his sell history, he sells a bunch of these. So when he sells one, he relists the item, and he's not selling it for a lot. It's like $10. He's asking $10 plus like $4 shipping, comes out to about $15 um, in terms of total amount. And I said, you know what, that's fine. But again, he sold after he sold this, he relisted it again, and it seems like he sells quite a few of these. So that leads me to believe like there's an abundance of this out on the market, and which is fine. I don't know. Maybe there's um, some issues with the authenticity of these things, but for the most part, I'm just going to assume. All right, he's got this. He put tape on this, and that's annoying. Um, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to get this off the tape here. This was not good packaging on his part, and This is making the video go longer than we want it to, obviously. And it's stuck here on this side as well. So again, not a very good packaging job. Let's see what can be done here. Don't tell me I have to cut it. I'd hate to have to cut this thing. All right, so I just hate when people don't know how to pack, especially sellers. What am I supposed to do with this tape here? Jeez. Let's see here. I'll just try to peel it off without bending the book or bending the item. All right, that should be good. Sorry about that, guys. Just poorly packaged materials there. So it looks like he just wrapped it up in some kind of plastic here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set it free from this plastic, and we'll put it in a backing board here, and then I'll show it off. All right, let's put it back here. So I'm gonna leave it in here in this comic here. Oh, careful. So I just don't want to the only thing I want to avoid is getting it stuck on tape or anything like that. So I'm gonna get the tape off here because I do not want to get this stuck. There we go. All right, this should be fine then. And you're probably wondering, oh, what is this must-have item by Jim Lee that every fan should have? And it's simple. So again, it's a simple card that was sent out to retailers, thanking them for making this book here the best-selling comic book of all time. And so that's what we got. We got the retailer card here with the hologram, really nice looking card. And I just want to thank Wanderlust for putting it on my radar again and reminding me this is something I had to get. And so that's what we did. Because I had the money and I was like, no time like the present to get it, went, looked for it. This guy had it really cheap. So he's selling a bunch of it. He just keeps selling them. So leads me to believe that he has some kind of like maybe he worked for Marvel, or he just has a bunch of these stashed somewhere. And I mean, there's trademark here and everything, but it's really something that could be really easily um, duplicated, or just, I guess the word I'm looking for is uh, something that could be counterfeited. But even if this is a counterfeit, we don't mind, because it's just such a cool card. It's the hologram there, and it's trademarked as 1992. So a little after the comic debuted, they sent these out again to retailers who were ordering X-Men at the time. So hey, Sleepy. That's what I'm thinking. This guy just had a box of them. I'm sure Marvel printed a bunch of them to send out, and probably, you know, with these kinds of things, they're sort of like promo flyers. Really, they just send them out to retailers who've ordered as a thank you. But it kind of, in terms of um, like, printing costs and all that, it'd just be sort of like uh, a mass printed thing where they could just slip it into people's orders and distribute them. So I'm sure a lot of them are distributed, and there are probably a lot of these copies just sitting around somewhere. Marvel probably didn't do their due diligence in terms of managing these things from getting out. So that's what I'm thinking. This seller is sitting on. He's probably sitting on a box of these things and selling them for $10 a pop. Um, right. Yeah, this is probably one of those things. And again, it wasn't. I paid about $10 with shipping and everything, 15 total. So that's just a pretty cool hologram and thing to have from the '90s. Even if it's maybe something that's not rare, it is just a cool item, and it goes nicely on the back of this comic book as just sort of like a backing, right? So wanted to add that, and I think it's a must-have if you're a Jim Lee fan. Um, it's one of the early crowning achievements of Mr. Lee's career, and I honestly think this is a record that will be broken. It's like never say never. I think um, at some point a first printing of a book will be so popular that, like, really everybody goes out and gets it. Marvel just had really good luck in terms of marketing and this connecting cover and just the timing. Everybody was kind of like, their collecting was becoming a big thing in terms of like speculation and the value of these things. These were kind of like um, right around when this comic came out, people were speculating and buying and doing all the things that you see in the hobby now, but um, that was kind of taking place, and that's what people thought with this. They're like, oh, no, X-Men #1, it's going to be a key issue, and they went out and bought multiple copies, and of course there's just a good jillion of them out there in the market. So um, just a cool thing to feature. And Damien, I'm going to hop on now to catch Roger's his corner video, and I'm sure you're going to do the same as well. So I'll see you over there. Did the death of Superman come close to the record? I'm not sure what the final sales on the death of Superman. I don't think the sales. I can't confirm, that they got close or they didn't. I would imagine it did. But what I am certain of is in terms of the uh, the PR for that event, um, that got a lot of news. So I would say the impact of that book, or that event, the death of Superman, was um, farther reaching than anything related to this book. This book just kind of quietly just sold a lot of copies, whereas the death of Superman was a real sort of news event, PR event, um, because they were killing off really sort of the foundation of like comic books, right? So I remember it's kind of like, where were you when, like you heard when Kennedy was assassinated? It's like one of those things. Were you when you heard Superman was being killed off, or when Superman died? So um, yeah, I'm sure it sold a lot of books as well, but again, can't confirm whether it was close to Jim's record or not. I do know that at Marvel, uh, McFarlane's Spider-Man. So I think Jim Lee's book sold 8 million copies, and McFarlane's Spider-Man, Spider-Man One, Volume Two One, which debuted before Jim's, that had set a precedent for 2 million copies sold. Um, and I believe I don't know if it's the record, the second best. I can't confirm that, but at the time before Jim Lee's record, I think McFarlane had said it with 2 million, and he was McFarlane was sitting on the record very for a very short period of time, because weeks later Jim came in and outsold him. But yeah, I'm sure there's somebody in between Todd and Jim sitting nestled in there, and it could very well be uh, that issue of Death of Superman number 75, because I know a lot of people went out and bought multiple copies of that book as well. So it'd be interesting to kind of uh, look into that and find out. All right. Thanks for joining, Damien. I'll see you over on Roger's channel, and we'll enjoy that. At least I'm going to jump on there for as long as I can, because once my kid wakes up from his nap, it'll be time for me to